great to see you.
It's great to be here.
And then take the ship down to our Aldi yard.
I must say that I think the statements that were made questioning Australia's integrity and the slurs that have been placed on Australia, I'm not going to cop sledging of Australia.
In the time it took Scott Morrison to travel from Rome to a chilly Glasgow shipyard, quite a lot had happened. The French president had called him a liar. And then someone had leaked a text message the French president sent just 2 days before the contract was scrapped, asking Scott Morrison if he should expect good or bad news for our joint submarine ambitions.
Why did you decide to leak that text message?
Well, I'm not going to indulge your editorial on it.
A Prime Minister under pressure was biting back.
I understand that he's very personally upset and he's made some personal remarks. I don't intend to do the same.
The attempted damage control by selectively leaking private text messages is quite an extraordinary step for an Australian Prime Minister to take.
He can twist and turn and leak a text message here and leak a document there to his, stenographic friends in the media. But ultimately, the failure here was one of not being honest.
But something else had also happened between Rome and Glasgow. Someone at the most senior levels of the Australian government had also leaked a 15-page confidential US document about the AUKUS negotiations. The leak was designed to damage the public claim by the US president that he had not known the French had not been told in advance about the Australian decision to dump a $90 billion submarine contract. In other words, to defend the Prime Minister's reputation, or Australia's integrity, as Scott Morrison described it, someone in the government was prepared to also embarrass the United States president. How did we get to this point, and just why are the French so aggrieved? A lot of the answers to these questions, at least Australian answers, have now gone on the public record, either through the remarks of ministers or of officials appearing before parliamentary committees.
Following a request from the Prime Minister's office, the department initiated a preliminary examination of the feasibility of Australia acquiring nuclear-powered submarines in March 2020.
While the nuclear option was under consideration from March, defence officials said the possibility of terminating the French contract only started being discussed once Defence reported back to the Prime Minister in December. Discussions about nuclear cooperation, first with the United Kingdom, then the United States, started around February.
Over this period, there was consultation with the United Kingdom and US experts, and at the political level on what cooperation on nuclear-powered submarines could entail. On 12 June, the three leaders met at the G7, where it was agreed that officials should determine a way ahead for trilateral cooperation on nuclear-powered submarines.
That June meeting in Cornwall, on the sidelines of the G7 between Scott Morrison, Joe Biden and Boris Johnson, is where the PM says the AUKUS deal came about. And then it was on to Paris to see the French president.
At that point, I made it very clear that a conventional diesel-powered submarine was not going to meet Australia's strategic requirements. We discussed that candidly. I did not discuss what other alternatives we were looking at, but what we did discuss was the issues that we were still dealing with the attack class submarines. He asked for the opportunity to discuss that further, to address our issues.
To summarise this, the Prime Minister told the President there were contractual problems and that a conventional submarine would not meet Australia's requirements. But he did not tell President Macron that the government was planning to kill the contract altogether. The French President undertook to sort out the issues in the contract. Keep in mind that the proposed French submarines were based on an existing nuclear one, and that the possibility of the French submarines eventually being nuclear had been openly canvassed, so it would not necessarily have rung any alarm bells with Macron. As for alternatives, media speculation had generally been about extending the life of the Collins-class fleet, not about shifting to an entirely new arrangement with other nations.
And so, friends, AUKUS is born.
When the government finally announced it was dumping the French deal, the suggestion was that there had been a major cost blowout, But apparently not.
The total estimated cost of the program was $88 billion in outturned dollars. This is the same estimate that the department took to government in 2016, adjusted for foreign exchange rate variations. There was no cost blowout. They have been terminated because our requirements have changed, not because of the poor performance by either Naval Group or Lockheed Martin Australia.
Naval Group had in fact presented an affordable and acceptable offer to proceed with the next phase of work.
I have a lot of respect for your country. I have a lot of respect and a lot of friendship for your people.
Do you think he lied to you?
I don't think. I know.
The French president is clearly angry because he believes he has been both blindsided and deceived. And the French are angry at the loss of such a massive contract. But comments from former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull this morning reflected a much deeper anger too.
France shared with us some of their most secret technology on submarines. It was a partnership between two nations. It was a cornerstone of France's Indo-Pacific strategy.
As other sources have told 730, the French had repeatedly emphasised, after the deal was originally done in 2016, just how significantly they regarded this first ever sharing of sovereign capability with another country. That this was a government-to-government commitment, not just a commercial contract. It was simply beyond comprehension that the contract would just be scrapped.
With the French deal negotiated by Malcolm Turnbull, Australia had definitely an option to produce in Australia, to have submarines, conventional submarines, and to get the submarines with a clear and a reliable period of time. Now you have 18 months before a report. Good luck.
Tomorrow, we will get a much more comprehensive version of the French side of the story when Ambassador Jean-Pierre Thébault addresses the National Press Club.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.